Welcome to What Mandy Made Next. Today I want to share with you some projects I've recently made, some to decorate my house for Christmas and also my festive stitching plans. Decided I would finish whatever I was working on in autumn, and I have done. So the first part of this vlog, and I'll pop timestamps in below in the description box, so if you wish to flick to the Christmassy stuff then you can do, but I'm going to start with my autumnal projects that I've finished and then we'll get on to the festive stuff. Project I finished was my autumn quilt. So the pattern is from the Primitive Quilts and Projects magazine. It's the fall edition for 2024 and it was on the front page, and instantly my eyes were drawn to the beautiful plaid fabric. Most of the fabrics used in the quilt are from the Harvey's Wishes range by Deb Strain for Moda, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. However, try hard as I might, I only managed to source one of the fabrics used in the quilt from this collection. So whilst I was on holiday, I kept, in Florida, I kept going in different quilt shops, and I happened to come across one called Quilters Anonymous. And when I went in the shop, I saw this beautiful plaid fabric and I thought, yeah, I love that. And I thought, why don't I swap out some of the fabrics for this collection? So I've used Quaint Cottage from Gingerbread. I've used 3 fabrics from the collection and incorporated those into my quilt. So if you want to know all about the fabrics I've used, you can hop on to my previous vlog where I talk more in depth about what I've used. Here is the actual quilt. I am going to show you an overhead picture of this so you can get a proper view of it. I've quilted it by just quilting round, you know, the edges. I'll show you the back and you can see more of what I mean. I've used the fancy stitch on one of the borders. That's already incorporated into my sewing machine, so that's what I've used there. I didn't quilt the borders here. They're not very wide, so I can get away with that. And I thought if I used them, I can free motion quilt, but I think the pattern would have been lost on the border because it's a dark fabric and it's quite busy with the flowers. So yeah, I didn't quilt the borders, but it's held up quite nice. The back fabric, the backing fabric, again, I've purchased from Hobby Lobby whilst on holiday. I thought it had this shabby chic look and I thought that would go well. And again, it's by the brother and sister design for Hobby Lobby. I've also used a faux binding and I've picked out the colours that I've used in the quilt for that. I'll pop a link in down below to this really good tutorial on how to do faux binding. I love faux binding. One of the things you do with the faux binding is match up the cotton to the back of your quilt and use that in your bobbin, and then your top you use the colour of the binding there. So I used a green cotton, but yeah, I think that has really picked it out rather nice with this print being so busy. So I'm gonna show you now the full quilt.
Don't wanna sleep tonight at all. Just wanna watch them stars fall. But you don't wanna try to make up dreams just to be seen. I wanna lay here beside you, oh quiet. Fire breath and open sky. It's not what we know, it's where we go. I grow wings and tell her goodbye. Oh, it's not what we see, it's what we choose to be. Sunflowers, high grass and bare feet. Each second is a treat. I keep my balance next to you. It's true, nowadays there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. Fire breath and open sky. It's not what we know, it's where we go. I grow wings and tell her goodbye. It's not what we see, it's what we choose to be. We're beyond good, I've never been so ready.
The second project I've finished. Well, I say finished, I've only got to sew the buttons on. It's Living in Here, which is a project bag made by Little Workroom Crafts. Is the Agnes cardigan. So this was a free pattern on the Drops Design website. And you may recall, if you've watched my previous vlogs, I have made this cardigan before. So I've got two granddaughters who are sisters, and I made one for the older sister, and this is the one I've made for the younger one. So they'll have matching cardigans. So it's got this beautiful lacy yoke. I'm going to show you the back because it shows it up better, the lace pattern. So you knit this top down, and it's got this garter stitch edging here. You also knit on the bands at the same time. So some patterns will have smaller needles for the bands, but this doesn't. So it was just one set of needles, which I like. So there we go. That's the bands, and then it's finished with this garter stitch again. Now the sleeves, I use double pointing needles, so I'm knitting in a tube. Well, you can't knit garter stitch that way, so I had to purl a row, knit a row, purl a row, and do it that way. So that's the edging for the sleeves. So all I need to do now is just sew the buttons on, and I'm classing this as a finish because once I've sewn the buttons on, I'm going to drop this off and give it to my daughter. I will say that I think I'll need to block this. Now this is, I'll show you the ball band. It's an acrylic wool. Well, I shouldn't say wool really, should I? Because it's not no wool in it. But it is acrylic. I come from the days when, you know, wool could be wool from sheep or acrylic. But it's this Bonnie Babe by Robin. It's a double knitting, and the shade is 1368, and I'll show you the ball. So got quite a bit left of this. I can't tell you how much I've used exactly because I started using what was left from the other cardigan, but probably about 150, I would say. But there we go. Just wanted to get these projects out of the way, and I've got such a lot of knitting to do. But yeah, I've bought myself a knitting machine. Now I did have one in the late 80s, and it was what you call a medium gauge. Is it a medium gauge? But anyhow, that only knits 3 and 4 ply. I had the rib, I had lots of attachments. It was second hand, it was fabulous. It had a lace carriage with it and tarsia, it did tuck stitch, it had punch cards. It was all singing and dancing. And then I sold it because, you know, when you've got a young family and you know, you need money. So yeah, I let that go. But I didn't hand knit for a long time then because I was so used to using a machine. While we're talking about hand knitting, I've just thought I'd mention this jumper I've got on today is the Betty and Judy Lodge jumper designed by the Poison Girls, and it's a pattern you can access on Ravelry or on their website. Yeah, I knit this a few years ago now, and it was using a Vigère de France wool. I think it's a sport weight. I think, is that like an Aran? But it's on the thicker needles. I think it's on a 5mm, so it knits up pretty quickly. And yeah, this just screams alpine to me. I love this jump. It's a lovely fit as well. So getting back to the knitting machine, I've ordered one. In fact, it's in the store now waiting for me to pick it up. So yeah, can't wait. But this one knits double knitting wool and Aran weight. So yeah, watch this space. I'll do some vlogs on unboxing it and everything. I'm really excited. So getting on about the yarn, I've finished another big project, and that's my Dune blanket by Attic 24, and this is a crochet project. I've not heard of any crochet machines. I'm sure they do them. But yeah, this is my Dune blanket all finished. So I've crocheted this for my eldest daughter. So they've all had a blanket now, crocheted for them. And I've used the colour wash stripe order for this. So there was 2 stripe orders. There's the seashell one and the colour wash, and I chose the colour wash. I did start to regret it at one point and thought I should have perhaps stuck to the seashell one, because it all was random stripes, you see. But now I'm really pleased with how this is turned out.
Soft, turn the key and cooler on. Push the pause for relief. Free pass, you don't even have to ask to be the cat in the sun. Someday I will see the whole deal through today. I've got better things to do, okay, to leave a little bit undone and be the cat in the sun.
Okay, so I'm just looking down because my next project I want to share with you, which I've finished, is my cross stitch. So I'll bring that a bit closer. So this is from a Dimensions kit, and it's called The Glory of Autumn. I purchased this kit from 123 Stitch. The artwork was originally by an artist called Rudy Reichart. I think that's how you pronounce the name. And it features this beautiful farmhouse with a water wheel and the backdrop of this gorgeous forest. And I love these autumn trees because you can tell it's turning into autumn. There's a lot of confetti in this, what we call confetti. So in a square of 100 holes, you can have quite a few different colours. And you do cross stitches and half cross stitches to give you the dimensions of the cross stitch. So let me show you, and then you'll understand that a little bit better. And this is on a 14 count Ada in the ivory colourway. So this is it all finished. Isn't it glorious? I love it. So you can see what I'm talking about with the trees. So some of the sky is like, you know, you might do just half a cross stitch, and then your tree might be 2 or 3 threads because you have blends as well. So you might use 2 or 3 colours in one stitch to give you that dimension. And then of course you do a lot of back stitching, which you can see here, which helps, you know, features to be more prominent. So I've just got, and that's why you can see some threads hanging there, a little bit of back stitching to do here and round these ducks, and it's completed. But I thought I'd show you because I think the next time I'll probably show you this is when it's in its frame. But to me that's another finish. So another finish now, we'll get on to more of the Christmas crafting. But I was well, I still am participating in what's called Whip Go 24, and I'll pop a link in down below to one of my vlogs that explains a little bit more about that. But this was one of the projects I was working on, and this is now more or less complete. So this is called the Toy Shop, and again it's a dimensions kit. It's from the Gold collection, and it's what we call a petite. So it's just a small piece. So I've finished all the cross stitch, so I'm counting it as a finished. I've just got to do a little bit of back stitch around the bike saddle and the door, and finish these French knots, which denote the snowflakes. Now the reason I didn't stitch the French knots as I was cross stitching is because the hoop was flattening the nubs down, you see. So I thought, well, I'll wait until those are finished, till the piece is finished, and then I will stitch them. So yeah, that's my toy shop. Isn't it beautiful? I just love it. I mean, look at the brickwork, how they shade, and yeah. I've just got to put a couple of threads in here as well, some brown back stitching, just to help the brickwork to pop a bit more. But yeah, so pleased with how that's turned out. I really am. I'm hoping to find a frame for that. Okay, I'm just having a look below in my notes to make sure I don't forget anything. I recently attended a workshop at Liberty Bell, and here she is. Isn't she gorgeous? She's she's inspired by gingerbread, so she's like a gingerbread doll. So we got this beautiful bric-a-brac what goes around her. I love her dress. Let me show you the back, and then you can see it more clearly. It's got these little tucks in. It's a bit Downton Abbey. And then she's got her pantaloons on. And it's using this beautiful primitive fabric. Well, primitive inspired fabric, should we say. And then she's got a little apron on, and it's got little gingerbread buttons. And then a primitive inspired heart. And then it's gathered and attached with two little buttons there. I think she looks great. So that's my Holly Golly gumdrops. Now, whilst I was there, I did buy a kit, can't help myself. And this is Mrs. Claus. So in the next few weeks, I'm hoping to make her. So if I do, I'll do an unboxing and perhaps a bit of a sew-along. And because I love watching sew-alongs. Now, so usually what happens is Sue, who owns Liberty Bell, will publish a catalogue of workshops, a schedule, and one of those workshops was for this hot cocoa, the hot cocoa reindeer it's called, and I really wanted to make it, but unfortunately one of the dates was full and the other date wasn't convenient. So when I went to make Holly Golly gumdrops, I said, can't you make that into a kit for me? She goes, well, I have got one made up for someone, so you can have that. So here it is. I'll pop a more close-up photograph for you. So the workshop was called Hot Cocoa Reindeer, and she styled this in a picture frame. But she said you could also make it as a wall hanging, which I decided to do. But isn't it gorgeous? So I did start to use my sewing machine to blanket stitch around the reindeer. but my machine, it's quite close, the stitching is, and I thought, you know, I think I'd rather hand stitch, so I've hand stitched the rest on. And I've used some speciality threads as well. So this one here, I've used like a silvery white Gutermann thread. And then when I stitch round the handle in the top of the mug and the candy there, I've used this red glittery thread. And then I use this lovely shiny thread by Gutermann for round the scarf. So yeah, it's not quite showing up. You might see a bit of change of colour when I do that, but you can see it when, you know, in real time, if you know what I mean. When you walk up to it, you can see it glisten a bit, but you can see a little bit of glisten when you're closer to it. I used some embroidery floss for the ends of the scarf, and then this fabric at the back is just some I've had in stash. So it's red with like gold polka dots on, and then I bound it and secured the binding by using this fancy stitch, which is already incorporated in my sewing machine. So yeah, I thought that looked really pretty. And this is the back, and I've made a like a sleeve there to hang it on this hanger. I love these little beads as well, you know, for the sprinkles. Just love everything about this. Now, after I was looking at this, I realised, now I've just realised I haven't sewn on the pink inner ears, so I'll do that later. Now, previously, when I've attended workshops at Liberty Bell, I've seen this lovely banner, and it's called the Gingerbread banner. Now, when she advertises the schedule, or schedule, whatever you want to say, where I come from we say schedule, she posts a photograph up of the workshop, and I always say to her, the photographs just don't do it justice, because when you see it actually go into the shop and you see the different projects made up, they're stunning. And this was really so pretty, and I thought, I wish I'd attended the workshop now. And it's called the Gingerbread banner. I've had this in my stash now, the kit, for a couple of years, because I just haven't got round to making it, and I thought I need to make this up. So I cracked on and I've made this up this week, and I've absolutely enjoyed every minute of making this. I love the colour of the fabrics, and you know, this is just my jam. I love the designers Kansas Trouble Quilters for Moda. I think they're fantastic, and every time they bring a collection out, I just swoon over it. So yeah, I just loved making this, and because it's small, a small project really, and you're working with all these different fabrics, it was just so interesting to do. Now, I did use some of the machine, my sewing machine, especially for the fancy stitch in between, and also some of the lettering, and then I hand stitched some of it. But yeah, now I've hung so the banner is now hung, and it's on display in my dining room, and that's where it'll stay now, because I just love it. I really do. So yeah, that's my gingerbread banner. Okay, I've also got another kit from Liberty Bell, and this is Santa Claus. Now, my daughter bought me this last Christmas and I haven't had a chance to make it up. So I'd like to get this made, and then I can display both of them on my dresser. So Mr. and Mrs. Claus here. So yeah. In the next couple of weeks I hope to get those finished before the Christmas season is over. And I've also got another kit. I don't know if I'll have time to make this up, but I've had this in my stash for a couple of years now, and it's called Festive Trees, and it's by Suki Sue and the Sew Sisters. I'll show you a photograph of what it should be like once made up. So that's that one. So you get in the kit, you get your linen and your threads. So here is the threads all ready, and then get your linen with 2 little trees and the big tree. So yeah. Thank you for watching, and I'd love it if you'd tell me in the comments below what craft you're currently working on, or what craft you liked in my vlog. What was your favourite one? And if you enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe if you would like to see more vlogs. So I'd like to take this opportunity to wish you a happy Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, and happy crafting as always. Until I see you next time, bye.